making their way to the microphone. It's Daniel Cormier and Ariel Helwani.
Back in your life on this third week of March 2021. Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to a brand new edition of DC and Helwani. Of course, that is DC, Daniel Cormier. I am Helwani, Ariel Helwani. So much to discuss, so much going on. DC's back from Las Vegas, I presume, right? You're not in Las Vegas anymore.
Back home.
What a night, DC.
Well, look at my logo. My logo is only when I'm home, right? So like, I rush home to get in front of my beautiful logo, you know, the fight.
I don't know. There was once a time where you said you, I believe you bought a TV from some location and then you were going to return it. I don't know what you do with your TVs.
You know, I still have that TV. No, seriously. Every time I go to Las Vegas, I leave it at the Marriott. I promise you, I leave it at the Marriott in the back in the manager's office. Every time I show up, go and grab the TV and walk it upstairs so I can play my video game. I can watch all my shows. I've got my own TV in that hotel.
You know, there are rumblings that the UFC is looking to take the show on the road. I feel like you want them to stay at the Apex situation.
I gotta be honest. I want to stay there. If I'm honest, I want to stay at the Apex. The Apex is perfect. It's safe, right? Everybody in the Apex is tested. The environment has become like so normal now. It's like I love the Apex, and I get up, I take an hour flight to work, and an hour flight back home. It's like perfect. It's actually like. It's the most ideal situation for someone calling fights.
So we have so much to discuss. Of course, you were just at the Apex on Saturday night. Leon Edwards, Belal Muhammad. Holy smokes. Just when you thought things couldn't get weirder for our friend, our mate, Leon Rocky Edwards, they got weirder. So we'll talk about that. Of course, we have a great card to talk about this coming weekend. Your boy, Mr. Kevin Holland. Mr. Big Mouth going up against Derek Brunson. We got to talk about that. We got to talk about the lightweight division, the welterweight division. We got to talk about Ben Askren. So much to discuss, but of course, would be remiss if I don't wish you and yours, DC, a happy National Artichoke Day. Now, I'm not a big artichoke guy. Are you?
No, my mom likes it. My mom likes artichokes.
Always hated artichokes. Never was a big artichoke guy.
I've never had one. In my entire life, I've never eaten an artichoke.
In your entire life, you have never tried an artichoke?
Tried it. No, I've
never dipped it into the lemon juice?
Never tried. Lemon juice. No, my mom likes artichokes. Happy artichoke day. Like, this is crazy.
National Kansas Day. You have a lot of fans in Kansas. Today's National Kansas Day. I do love National Shoe the World Day. Not really sure what that really means. I mean, are you supposed to wear shoes? Are you not supposed to wear shoes? That's a bit of a funky one. But here's my favorite. And by the way, I see everyone doing the national thing. I mean, our friends at BT Sport yesterday, they were doing International Spider Day and all this stuff. I mean, everyone's copying our gimmick. This is my favorite one and probably yours as well. DC, today is National Napping Day.
Oh, that's my day.
Yeah.
My day. I'm definitely taking a nap, dog.
Yeah, you got to celebrate National Napping Day in a big way. Are you
going to celebrate that? Are you going to celebrate National Napping Day?
I might. When my daughter comes home from school, we might just take a little schluff, me and her together in the bed. It's so good.
Yeah, what is a schluff?
You know, a little nap. You guys don't call it a schluff?
Oh, no.
And of course, next week, DC, the big 1-year anniversary of this show. It was a year ago that I did an IG live with Colby Covington when everything kind of got crazy in this world. So we'll celebrate that next week. For now, though, let us get into what happened on Saturday. So Leon Edwards, Leon, you know what? I don't know if you called a good fight or not, because I was talking to Darren Till for like 3 hours on Twitter Spaces. It was phenomenal. So I didn't listen to you. A lot of people said they liked my commentary. I'm not going to lie. It was really great stuff. He was ranking his favorite jails that he's been to. It was really
What is wrong with Darren Till, man? What is wrong with Darren Till? So you guys are friends now.
I mean,
to mend the fence like with Darren Till. He's so.
Oh no, I never had an issue with Darren Till.
He wanted to beat you up last year. Last year, right around the time the show started, Darren Till was one of the guys that wanted to kick your butt.
It was a bit of a work, if I'm being honest.
Okay. It was a work. Okay, good.
So we were cool, but great night of fights. Let's start with the main event. So Leon Edwards looks amazing in the first round. We talked last week, cut, in shape, ready to go. I thought looked amazing in the first round, 10-9 in my opinion, and then disaster strikes. After a warning about a previous eye poke, he very clearly
Yeah,
pokes Belal Muhammad in the eye. Belal is in a ton of pain. Unfortunate situation. Fight is called. It's ruled a no contest by Herb Dean. And this is one of those situations, DC, and I'd love to get your thoughts. You were there. I feel horribly for both men. I feel horribly for Belal. First main event, gets his eye poked. Thankfully, he tweeted he's going to be okay. But I got to be honest, 19 months after his last fight, I feel horrible for Leon as well. Horrible luck. Just the whole thing depressed me.
Yeah, it was sad for both sides, honestly, because you saw Leon Edwards come back and fight a beautiful first round and look as sharp and as skilled as we've come to expect from him. But if you know Belal Muhammad, you know that it takes some time to get going and that he has fantastic cardio, and he usually will build through a fight with his pace and his pressure. Could he have done that to Leon Edwards? Leon has always showed that his cardio is fantastic also, but the way the fight was going, it looked as though Leon Edwards had the timing of Belal Muhammad. He was piecing him up in round number 1, man. If you're being honest with yourself, Belal got pieced up in the first round. But as I said, generally as the fight goes longer, Belal Muhammad is better in those long fight situations. We've seen him build through adversity over a lot of different fights. But the way it ended was just so it was almost like just wind out of your sails, right? Because we saw the fight earlier in the night with Anders, and then we saw that one. It was almost like just the whole room, the whole Apex just went like a big sigh of oh, that sucks.
Inconclusive. What do you do with Edwards? What do you do with Muhammad? We're going to get to all of that in a moment, but this was his big return. Welterweight's a bit of a mess. No one's fighting each other. He takes his fight on short notice after Khamzat can't fight, and we have actually decided nothing as a result of this fight. It's the bigger mess. Yeah,
that's the problem. It's for Leon Edwards, right? It was like he finally had some clarity and some direction, right? If he could fight well and beat Belal Muhammad, he would get a title fight. That happens, and look, the combination it's the same combination that Josh Thompson used to throw. It was a right hand, right kick. We've seen Robert Whittaker do it all the time. That's one of Robert Whittaker knocked out Jacare with that. He dropped Derek Brunson with that. He dropped a lot of guys with that same combination where he throws like a short jab, then a right hand, and the right kick follows the right hand. Because technically, when you're taught to strike, you throw opposites, right? You throw right jab, left hook, right kick. You throw right hand, left kick. It's always like opposite. But once you develop and you become a higher level striker, you start kicking off the same side. And that's what Leon tried to do. It was like when he threw the right hand, he was like kind of trying to post in front of the face, and then the kick would hide behind the punch. Unfortunately, thumb was right in the eye of Belal Muhammad, and now you have no idea what to do. But like he said, man, I feel bad for both guys because Belal Muhammad is a guy that is as big a fan of this thing, Ariel, as he is a fighter. He loves fighting. He loves everything about fighting. He was totally involved, right, with being a main event, from the poster signing to the interviews to the being on the marquee. It was all very big to Belal Muhammad. And after last Saturday, there is no clarity. It really does leave two fighters now just standing still.
Wait a second. Josh Thompson, the guy who does the podcast, he fought?
Yeah, he was a good fighter, man. Let me tell you something. Josh
I thought he was just a podcast guy.
He's a podcast. Josh is a podcast guy, but he was a good fighter.
Oh,
and
my bad.
For years, honestly, the best technical guy we've had out of AKA. He's technically so sound.
Of course, I'm just joking. Actually, one of the first events I was ever credentialed to was Josh Thompson, Gilbert Melendez 1. I'm just, Josh.
You're just joshing because you're just joshing because Josh is over on his own podcast. At times, likes to make statements as if he's trying to take on the champs, but he don't want to take on the champs.
That's right.
Nobody wants to take on the champs.
So let me ask you this, DC, because you know about this. You know all about this. You know about poking eyes and getting eye poked. I mean, let's call it like we see it.
Wait. Poking eyes and getting eye poke. Oh, so now you're not just gonna sit on my side completely?
No.
So you're gonna play. So now you're gonna play it down the middle. You're not gonna just sit on my side of the fence now.
Hey, I've taken a lot of bullets for you, my man. I've had to swallow a lot of razor blades on your behalf. Okay. And so I will defend you till I die. But them's the facts. in light of this, the conversation has come up once again about the gloves.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the gloves. There was a time not that long ago where Mark Ratner was talking about potentially Mark Ratner, of course, the VP of Regulatory Affairs, legend, Hall of Famer, about modifying the gloves, going to maybe a more curved glove, a la Pride back in the day. There are pictures. You look at the Pride gloves, your fingers are curved as opposed to the UFC gloves where they're more outstretched. There's also Trevor Whitman. I don't know if you've seen his glove, the Onyx gloves, that he has actually, from what I understand, pitched to the UFC, but for whatever reason, I mean, it would be a little more drastic. It covers, the fingers. We're showing pictures of that as well. It's a different kind of glove, but it would preclude people from poking eyes. Is this just a necessary evil? Like, okay, from someone who's been there and felt it, is there any solution to this, or is this just MMA and guys need to be reprimanded stricter so that they don't do something like this? How do you see it?
A lot of times when you are doing that, right? Like when you poke eyes, right? You're trying to grab. And if your fingers aren't allowed to open or straighten, then I think that you could eliminate some of the eye poking. But the reality is there's going to be issues with the gloves being curved if we go forward. It's because my thing is this. You're never going to find something that works perfectly. There's going to be issues with everything. And I don't know what it's going to take in order to stop eye pokes. I believe still eye pokes will still happen. Maybe not as frequently, but I believe they'll still happen. But let me think about the eye pokes happen just about every fight. The big one that just happened with Belal is probably when was the last time a big one like that happened? Right? Where it was so damaging. Like,
I mean, honestly, yours.
Yeah, but that was 6 months ago, 7 months
No, I'm
ago.
saying, it's important to know that this doesn't happen every single Saturday, but it happens enough. And
it does.
It's gruesome.
It does. That one was bad.
Yeah.
But I think he scratched Belal's the bottom of the eye, right? It was like it went in the eye, but the nail kind of like scratched the bottom. That was the blood. Having curved gloves will help because it does allow you to still lock your hands and wrestle, right? Mm-hmm. If your gloves are curved like this, you can still lock your hands with the grip. You can still grab. You can still do everything. It keeps the fingers from going straight. Even when Jones would touch people in the eye, he wasn't trying to. He was just trying to manage distance, right? And because he's so long, he put his arms out. This thing that they started implementing where you're supposed to have your hand up has helped. But the reality is you're in a fight. And sometimes those things happen. Unfortunate that it happens in those big spots. But yeah, I mean, I'm all for different designs on the gloves. But I do believe that with the different designs, don't know what the issue will be. There will always be something because in a fist fight, it's never perfect. It's never perfect. Even boxing, right? In boxing, you see guys sometimes they're punching with the glove and they hit them with the wrist and the wrist cuts them, right? But they got full gloves on. You're not supposed to punch people with the tape on your glove, but sometimes it happens and guys get cut. There's always going to be issues, but we should do whatever's necessary to try to limit those things.
Have you tried Whitman's gloves?
No, I haven't tried. Only gloves I've ever trained with outside of the UFC or just those small 4-ounce gloves, which I didn't do very much when I was fighting, is those ones that had like the big cushion on the front. Problem with that is they're so big,
right?
They're kind of bulky, right? But they're not Whitman's gloves. I'm sure Trevor, who's been around the game so long, has a really good idea and design for the gloves, if they're going to use them going forward.
Were the Strikeforce gloves at all different than the UFC gloves?
Oh, they were very similar. They were very, very similar. But I don't remember Strikeforce having that many issues with the eye pokes.
Less fights also, right? So there's
less fights. It wasn't
smaller sample size.
Have
you ever tried the Pride gloves?
I don't even know what the Pride gloves are. Like
the blue ones. Remember those? They were a little more rounded.
I do believe that the rounded glove could help as long as it's not so much that it's making it into a fist.
Right.
You just don't want it into a fist. You want to be able to maneuver and use your hands, right? So if it's just a little curve, just to bend the front, okay. But not anything that makes your fingers kind of all the way go forward.
The thing is, this sport is about to be 28 years old. At least the UFC, the sport in North America, 28 years old. evolution is an important part of the sport, right? The NBA, you look back when the NBA was 28 years old, it doesn't look the same. The rules aren't the same. So I hope that even though I'm not here to make a mountain out of a mole, I hope that they look at situations like this and say, okay, are we doing everything that is needed to continue to evolve the sport and make it as safe as possible? So that situations, no one wins in a situation like this. No one wants this.
Absolutely. And the UFC has shown, right, that they've been willing to evolve and change. You've seen things, right? Even from
the gloves need to evolve. The gloves need to evolve.
The gloves, yes. But even from the uniform, people hated the uniforms, but the UFC was trying to get in line with most professional sports, right? They've been willing to change. Now it might be time for looking into an adjustment to the gloves, you know, and I think
don't get me started on the uniforms, which by the way are going to change next month. There's already some pictures leaked out of the new Venom.
I saw that. I wish I could see that, but I saw my man the other day, dudes from Tennessee wearing Brazil shorts. Ryan Spann wearing Brazil shorts. So Reebok's like, yo, you want that color? Cool, dog. We're out of here in a couple months. Like, they don't even care no more. Like, yo, you want yellow? Cool. We'll give you yellow, put you from Brazil. Whatever you decide, we'll do.
The Venom deal kicks in April. So, okay, so let's talk about the actual result, because I saw a lot of people saying, okay, it's confusing. Let's be honest. It is confusing. No contest, technical decision, DQ. We saw what happened last week with Aljamain Sterling and Petr Yan. We saw what happened in the Eric Anders fight. You see what happens in the main event. Here's the bottom line. Why? So Yan ultimately lost via DQ because the referee that night, Mark Smith, said it was intentional. He said that he was intentional. With Leon, Herb Dean is saying it's unintentional. So as a result, it's a no contest.
But he had already warned Leon for poking the eye.
Oh, yes. But I'm just saying it all boils down to intent. And so the referee is trying to decide intentional or not. Now, I don't know how you can possibly say that Petr Yan, who was up in a title fight, would want to throw an illegal knee intentionally, but they say, hey, because he was standing there, sizing him up, it was intentional. That's why it was
the ref told him, and the ref told Petr, no, don't do it, right? So that action says, well, I told him not to do it, and he still did it. It's almost like a kid. You tell your kid, don't jump off of that, don't jump off of that. They jump off and hurt themselves. You go, well, I told you.
Right. Although he doesn't speak English, it's not fluent in English, at least. Here's the bottom line. It all boils down to intent. How are these referees able to decide if someone is doing something intentionally? Because at the end of the day, you are extending your hand, you are throwing a knee intentionally to hurt, intentionally to do something illegal, or not. So in this case with Leon, Herb said unintentional. We're going to no contest because the fight was only in round 2. You can't go to technical decision because it's not past the midway point. It's a bit confused. Like, how are we deciding intent ultimately? Like, that's honestly, I don't even know, because you could say, well, why doesn't everything just get called a DQ? Well, that's not fair, because now you're going to throw illegal stuff to get out of a fight. Or why doesn't everything just get called a no contest and we run it back? Like, I don't know. How do you feel about this? Because if it's all being boiled down to intent, that gets real murky fast.
It gets very murky, and also it puts these officials in a situation, right? It puts them in a very difficult situation because everything's happening in real time. Herb Dean didn't go to a monitor and look at Leon Edwards to see if it was intentional. He just kind of went off of what he saw in that moment. Well, sometimes they miss things in that moment, right? Like, so even when Stipe and I were fighting and I got poked in the eye, I fell away. The ref thought it was a punch. He missed it. What if I'd have been like, I can't continue after seeing the replay? Now what? How do you determine intent? You understand what I'm saying? So everything's happening so fast. And that's my biggest issue with sometimes the guy gets hurt real bad. Referee has to rush over there to stop the fight. People are saying it was stopped too slow. It's all happening so fast, man.
Yeah.
When you're inside that octagon, it's like things are going at 1,000 miles a minute. Like, it may look slow to you on TV, but it's like split-second decisions that ultimately lead to the outcome that you hope to get. Referees have to do that too. And so when he sees that, honestly, his reaction was based on Belal's reaction. Because think about it. When he did the move, Belal fell to the ground. That's when Herb Dean jumped in the middle and was like, wait. Right? Like, he didn't just like go, oh, I poke, because he's just watching two guys fight as we are. So when Belal fell, it starts going, oh my goodness, the right reaction to being poked as severely as he had just done. Herb Dean responded off of that, saw the damage, and said, oh, this fight's over. that's one area where I want to give Herb credit. When he saw Belal's eye and it was in the damaged state that it was in, he immediately goes, it's not like he said, do you want to continue? Like trying to put the decision in his hands. He said it was over, and then he has to determine whether it was intentional or not. But again, it was based off seeing how Belal reacted to the eye poke that started the whole situation, the whole chain of events. It's happening so fast, man. And it's putting these officials in a very difficult position to try to, in real time, determine whether or not something was intentional and is it worth ending a fight.
I don't know if there's an answer to the glove issue. I don't know if there's an answer to this particular issue. I do know this. If you look at all the officiating jobs in all of sports,
this is the hardest.
I would strongly make the case, even more so than boxing, that MMA officials have the toughest job in all sports because there is so much murkiness. The sport is so young. There's such a gray area. It's also subjective. So I just want to say Mark Smith, Herb Dean, Keith Peterson, Jason Herzog, who I think is one of the best. I was very happy to see Mike Beltran finally get a shot in Nevada. I have a lot of respect for these guys. And just because we sit here and critique things, it's very easy for us to do it. They have a tough freaking job out there.
All of them.
Very tough. Now, sometimes they don't do a good job, and you got to call them out on it. But man, it's tough.
Judges, Ariel. We are on these judges every weekend. But all the things that goes into judging a fight, right? It's difficult. They're sitting out there behind there. They're watching through the cage. There are pillars in the cage at some point you can't see. It's just all these jobs are so extremely hard that we have to respect the people for the time that they give and spend in learning how to do these very, very difficult jobs. And you're constantly out there to be judged, right? You're constantly out there to be judged, right? Herb Dean, it's almost like every week we have a judge or an official getting some sort of flack for a decision they made. There was a fight earlier in the night where I thought one of the referees allowed the guy to fight his way back in the fight. I think it was Herb Dean whenever the kid from Mexico was fighting against the kid from Canada. I don't know, Jourdain.
Charles Jourdain.
Was I thought it was over. I was like, oh my goodness, it's over. Herb let him continue to fight. The kid got back up and actually fought his way back into the fight. So it's like, it's hard, man. It's hard not to just say this one's done the moment somebody goes to the ground, and it's hard to judge these rounds.
Marcelo Rojo is the young man.
Marcelo Rojo, yeah.
Speaking of, who I do believe is actually from Argentina.
Argentina, yes, Argentina. But he trains down in Mexico at that gym with all those guys, yes.
And what about the fact that all week long, Leon Edwards is watching clips of marvelous Marvin Hagler. The last thing he posts on his Instagram is a picture of Marvin pointing to the infamous war hat before knowing that he passed away earlier in the day. And then we find out in the middle of the broadcast. I thought it was awesome that you guys quickly made the call to honor him at the beginning of the main card. That is some eerie stuff, right?
Eerie.
But absolutely bizarre. Were you a fan of Hagler back in the day?
So much, man. If I could walk you around my office right now, I have very few pictures up on the wall. And I've got a picture of Hagler versus Hearns because I still believe it's one of the greatest short fights of all time.
The first round might be the greatest first round ever in any fight sport.
It was a short fight though, right? 3 rounds. Didn't they fight 3 rounds or 4?
Something like that. Yeah, but that first round,
right? It's a short fight.
Yeah.
And this was when they were going 15 rounds, right? This is a very short fight. And these guys just blew the roof off. And I was so sad to hear that Marvin Hagler passed away, because he wasn't as boisterous as some of the champions from back in the day in boxing champions, but you could tell that he was just so iron-willed and so tough and so good that we respected him. I said it on the broadcast Saturday. It's my childhood, right? All those boxers, they're my childhood. Now, Muhammad Ali's gone, Marvin Hagler's gone, and as you age, man, you start to lose your idols and heroes, and it really does suck.
Yeah, 3-round fight, unbelievable. Back in 1985, I posted the clip. Really one of the, that first round is just 3 minutes.
They went crazy. They went crazy. And Tommy Hearns.
There was no boxing going on. It was just a brawl.
They were fighting. And at a point, Tommy Hearns was like, what in the world is going on? Because if you watch Marvin Hagler before, he wasn't that reckless. He had great power and he had great skill, but he just wanted to, he wanted to hurt the Motor City Hitman. And I'm telling you, man, they went at it. That was a great fight. It was a great fight.
So just very bizarre stuff. And I didn't notice that. I went back and looked. I was like, wow, yeah, he did post about him. So heartbreaking, just 66 years young. And our condolences go out to his family. And this is something that you've seen every single boxer, fighter, athlete on the planet talk about him and his influence. Shout out to Joe Rogan, posted a great thing about
that was great, wasn't it?
Marvin Hagler on
Rogan drawing that up, and
when
crazy,
he was a kid.
right?
Yeah, when he was a kid, unbelievable. So just a sad night for fighting, and then this happens. And so let's talk about what's next, DC, because afterwards our guy Rocky gets on and says he wants a title shot. And I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know how you can justify giving him a title shot. Now, let's be honest. Crazier things have happened. I mean, for God's sakes, you fought Alexander Gustafsson for the belt after he got brutally knocked out by Rumble Johnson. That's worse, right? So crazy people have gone title shots off of losses. Nick Diaz, Miesha Tate, Alexander Gustafsson, etc. However, this one feels a little inconclusive.
Hey,
but
I got a title shot off of a loss, right? I lost and got to fight again for the belt. So,
what you're talking about, Stipe?
With Stipe, yeah.
No, but that's different. You lose the belt, you get an immediate rematch, a little different. I'm talking about someone who wasn't attached at all to the fight. Okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. Listen, I'm trying to be nice to you here. But here's the thing. How do you justify giving me a title shot? And what do you do with Leon Edwards now? Because again, I feel like we answered no questions on Saturday night.
Nothing was answered. But, right, Leon Edwards fought because he hadn't fought in 19 months. He didn't necessarily have to fight Belal Muhammad. He did. And I see him trying to go forward now. Is it a title fight? I don't know. It seems as though Masvidal is fighting for the belt again.
So this is the situation. Masvidal, Usman, late August, September, like late summer, early fall.
Has Masvidal fought since he lost to Usman? No. So, I mean, it's the same, right? Like he's getting an immediate title shot.
Right.
I think it'll take Rocky one more fight.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it'll be against Belal Muhammad. I think Belal's going to need a little time to recover. And then it was ideal for him. And my heart breaks for Belal Muhammad. It was ideal for him because Belal doesn't normally get that fight. You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't get that fight.
Huge.
And it was like circumstances allowed for him to get that fight. And then for it to end that way, I feel as though the company and Leon are going to move forward together with what they want to do with Leon. And then Belal has to take that gradual build to the top of the division as it would have normally taken him. So it sucks for him. And I don't know what you do with Leon Edwards. I think it'll be a Colby Covington or somebody else. I
want to say this clearly so no one gets confused. I would have absolutely no problem with them running this back. No, absolutely no problem.
Me neither. I would not, but I don't think they will, though.
I don't think they will.
No, I'm telling you, like, I believe that it's justified for them to fight again, but I don't believe that it's going to happen because, once again, circumstances allow for this fight to happen in the first place.
Yep.
They would not normally do number 13 versus number 2 or number 3. I don't know what he is right now, but they don't normally do that. So because of the circumstances, the fight happened. I don't know if they're going to – I think they're going to move forward with Leon in a different way, especially if Belal needs time to get healthy.
Especially especially that if they don't go in that direction, I hope they make it up to Belal. I hope he gets a big time fight. I mean, welterweight's a mess. No one wants to fight anyone at welterweight, especially in the top 5, but I hope he gets a big name.
Yes.
I would have zero problem. I would repeat, because I know people are going to try to, mince my words. Run it back, no problem here. If they don't run it back, I understand why they wouldn't. And I understand, by the way, why Leon is trying to shoot his shot at this point, because he's like, look, man, I've been screwed left and right. People have gotten title shots off losses. I was winning that fight. Golly, what more do I have to do? I don't think he said golly. That's more of a, of an American term, but you get the point. And so to me, there are only 2 other options. If you're not running it back, if you're not going to reconsider that, there are only 2 options: Colby, Gilbert Burns. Those are the only options. Right?
Yes.
Those are the only options that I don't think you can justify giving him a title shot off this, as much as I would love to. Hey, the guy's unbeaten now in 9 fights, winning streak 8 fights. But really, Leon Edwards, let me tell you something. Kamaru Usman and Jorge Masvidal aren't fighting again after they fight in September or so, right? Or August. They're not going to come back in December. I mean, historically, those guys aren't fighting that actively unless it's a very quick fight. So you're going to wait now a whole year, probably March, right? You can't do that.
So he has to fight.
Colby, Gilbert, or Belal are the 3 options.
Yes. Like you said, it would be good to see him fight again with Belal Muhammad. But I think Belal Muhammad's going to have to fight somebody else in the top 10. Somebody around 9, 8 in that range. Leon Edwards will be fighting against one of those two guys that you named, because then you start to get some clarity in terms of who's next. I believe it'll be him and Colby Covington. That'll be the fight that I think will get made, because I think if you put Leon and Gilbert Burns together, now Gilbert Burns is fighting against the guy that is on the short list for a title fight. And if he wins, how do you put Gilbert back in there with Kamaru Usman after what you just saw? So I think you put it with Covington, because the winner easily faces Usman Masvidal winner, no questions asked.
Yep. So it's going to be interesting. We have to move on to other things because so much else to get to, but very quickly, shout out to Matthew Semmelsberger. Yes.
I get a text from Josh Thompson right here in the middle of right now. Josh Thompson texts me
What's he saying?
Kids wrestling. Kids wrestling
Okay.
Like right away. He's like, "Yeah, I want to bring my son
Josh.
to wrestling." But that's crazy. Josh texted me right there when we were just talking about him.
Love you, Josh. Of course, someone could say, "Why are you looking at your text in the middle of the show?" But that's
that
not
happens.
There. Jinyu Fry, congratulations to her on her first win in the UFC. Hani Yaya, who I thought was 51 years old, is still doing his thing. Unbelievable.
He's young. Hani Yaya is 36 years old.
Charles Air Jordan, my fellow Canadian, with the big win. Angela Hill with the big win. Mateus Nicolau, who was brought back to the UFC after the flyweight purge. Davey Grant, Dan Ige, 50K Ige, Ryan Spann. So all in all, it was a great night of fights.
Great knockout. A lot of knockouts and finishes. I mean, we were done with the show. It was 7-something. It was absurd. We're never done that early. But everybody, I mean, there was a 22-second knockout. There was like a 10-second knockout. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah, people were just like, "Wow, we want more of you and Darren Till. Keep going, keep going." I was like, "Guys,
they were like they were muting us, but they're like, listen to you guys. That's always good, you know."
All right, so we just talked about the welterweight division a little bit and that whole mess. Now I want to talk about another division that we don't talk about enough on this program, the lightweight division. It's been a while since
we never discussed that. What are you going to ask me? Is Khabib coming back? Like, I mean, that's the next question.
You know what? We haven't talked about that. Do you want to weigh in on that one or no?
I mean, come on, man.
So there I am a couple of days ago, just scrolling through Twitter and social media, and I see this tweet from DC, just kind of chilling. I guess you were just kind of like relaxing.
Yeah, just laying on my couch and just what is the moment I sit still, my mind starts to run and I start to think about lightweight, and I'm like, wow, okay.
You're just thinking like the day is over, your responsibilities are over, Coach DC is done, and you're just like, hey, let me just kind of like,
match the lightweight division.
Let me give Sean Shelby the night off here, and I'm going to put together some fights. So you throw out Beneil Dariush versus Tony Ferguson,
because I think Beneil deserves it. I'm like, wow, Beneil's on a run. Tony's kind of working his way back. This is a little bit of a step back. Let's do that one. I think that works.
In my house, relaxing and looking at rankings, I'm thinking, how about Gaethje Chandler? Then we go Islam RDA. And lastly, give my boy Beneil the big fight and match him up with Tony Ferguson. What do y'all think? Exciting, right? Wow. I mean, this guy.
A lot of responses too. People weighed in. Like it was a good conversation starter.
And then, lo and behold, 2 days later, bang. Beneil Dariush, Tony Ferguson, done deal.
Is it?
Done deal.
So wait. So relax DC's a thing?
I mean, I said it afterwards. I think that you have become the most powerful man in MMA media for your ability to matchmake these fights. Then I get word, Gaethje Chandler in the works.
So let me tell you something.
If this
is real, if you're not pulling my leg here, if Gaethje Chandler's in the works, I can tell you the thought behind that from my perspective if you want to hear it.
Was it a dominant thought?
It was very dominant because I was thinking, remember before I said Gaethje should be in the title fight? Well, now it looks like that's not happening. So if not, why not put him in there with the new guy who's right on the verge of getting a championship? And if the champion Khabib moves on, whoever wins that fight is a just number one contender. That's it.
So the thought came from a position of dominance.
Yes, for sure. Yes.
Okay, interesting.
Absolutely.
And then the next one was RDA Islam Makhachev, your boy.
Absolutely. Again, built-in storyline, right? RDA is a guy that Khabib fought back in the day, and as guys have won fights over RDA, they have gone into title contention. I was thinking the same thing for Islam. If Islam can get past RDA, it puts him in a position where you are looked at as a lightweight contender or a future title challenger. Remember, Khabib Colby Covington, Kamaru Usman. They've all had to fight and get through RDA in order to get to their championships. And that is why I thought of that matchup. Not to mention, I got one more. I got Conor versus Dustin, but that's pretty much, common knowledge.
Well, I'm here to tell you you're wrong about RDA and Islam.
Oh!
You went 2 for 3. You went 2 for 3. I mean, it seems like you put the cart before the horse.
It's so perfect.
Well,
it's so perfect.
That's not to say they're not interested, but after seeing your tweets and finding out about Gaethje's channel, I was like, whoa, weird things are going on here. So I reached out to RDA. And by the way, RDA had a great tweet a couple of days ago saying, all right, I'll fight you, Islam, if when I beat you, I'll fight your boy Khabib. Great stipulation. I mean, this is a tremendous storyline. But spoke to him on Saturday, and he told me on Friday he had surgery for a sports hernia that he's been battling before the Felder fight. Out 6 to 8 weeks, said, I'll take that fight. I have no problem, but I need 6 to 8 weeks. And I want the agreement to be made that if I beat this guy, I get his boy Khabib next. Now, can I just say something very quickly before you chime in? Can we just have a moment for RDA? This freaking guy fights prospects, champions, contenders. I mean, you look at the resume, this man fights anyway. Like who's even with the stipulation, who is raising their hand to fight Islam Makhachev right now?
Nobody.
Right?
RDA would do it though. But hey, as I said, RDA is a very tough out for anyone, but it has shown that when athletes are able to get through RDA, they do make runs towards titles. I know Kobe was an interim champion, but still, Usman, Khabib, all those guys became champs after fighting RDA. Look, man, I love the stipulation, but 6 to 8 weeks for Islam Makhachev doesn't really matter all that much because you can't think that he's going to fight again before Ramadan, right? So it just pushes him. It just pushes them into the fall, which is when or the summer.
You're saying, so you're going back to saying that fight is going to happen.
I'm going back to it. I'm thinking that's the one. That's the one. I don't care what you say. You try to discourage me. You're trying to get in my head because you always know stuff that I don't know. So you're trying to get in my head and trying to trick me into getting off it because you say, oh, you went 2 for 3, so you're not that good at this. So I'm saying I believe that with Ramadan, the 6 to 8 weeks puts RDA in that time frame where Islam is not fighting and training, under those circumstances. I believe after Ramadan, Islam will want to prepare and try to fight RDA.
But here's the problem. By the way, it is a great fight, and Gaethje Chandler is a great fight, and Ferguson Beneil is a great fight. It's great to see Beneil finally get a big name fight. Where does that leave Charles Oliveira? Look at the rankings right now.
Here's the beauty in that, right? I think it leaves. Now you're starting to eliminate people. Who's left? Who's left? Because Charles Oliveira has to either be right. Remember, and you got to pay attention to this. Dana said the other day, Conor's the guy that's back to don't matter what happens, I'll fight whoever. Does Charles Oliveira maybe stay in as a if Dustin or Conor get hurt, we put Charles Oliveira in there because you leave.
Come on, this guy.
You leave the number one contender free to roam. And if Conor and Dustin are scheduled to fight and Conor gets hurt, Charles Oliveira Poirier, you immediately just make it a title fight. Right? Like, so you leave him kind of floating. The only reason this isn't a title fight is because McGregor's attached to it and Poirier understands the McGregor fight at this point outweighs the championship. But if Conor gets hurt or says, I have to go back, move the fight back, and they say, well, Dustin, we want you to stay, put him and Oliveira together now for the championship.
Well, first, it is important to know.
The problem is this, though. The problem is this. I'm not laying on my couch.
Yeah.
I'm not just looking at the rankings. So it's like I'm not as relaxed, right? Like I'm not as relaxed as I am normally.
Well, okay, but first I do want to say you're speaking of McGregor Poirier 3 as though it is quote unquote fait accompli. It is not fait accompli. It's far from fait accompli. They wanted it for May. The clock is ticking on that. I mean, we're exactly 2 months away from that UFC 262 card on May 15th. So now the talk is July, but they need to get that fight done. And it is not done because they're having some issues with getting everyone on board. So the question is, will they try to use Charles as maybe, hey, Dustin, we can't come to terms. We're going to do Conor Charles for the vacant title or interim title. And oh, by the way, let's get even crazier. Do you do an interim title fight on May 15th? Because DC, go through the rankings, go through everything right now. The heavyweight champion is fighting on March 27th, right? Stipe Miocic. Okay. The light heavyweight champion, Jan Blachowicz, he just fought. So he's not fighting on May 15th.
He's taking some time.
Middleweight champion Israel Adesanya just fought. He's not fighting on May 15th. Welterweight champion, we talked about him, Kamaru Usman, late summer, early fall. Khabib, 155. Let's keep that on the sidelines for now. Volkanovski fighting March 27th. Sterling Yan. Can Sterling come back that soon? Tough after the concussion. I know the UFC would like for it to happen, but it seems tough. Flyweight, Davis and Figueiredo, June 12th. Then you got Amanda, 145 and 135. Can they convince her to come back? Tough. And then you got 125 Valentina, April 24th, and you got Zhang Weili 115. There's no one for May 15th.
Those are the types of situations where you see an interim championship, right? Like, and those are normally the type of situations where you see an interim championship or a Nate Diaz fight. Those are the types of situations.
Nate Diaz, Oliveira.
I mean, those are the types of situations, right? Like where there is no main event, there is no headliner. You see either an interim championship or you see a Nate Diaz fight. So I don't know. Keep your fingers crossed. You might get the Stockton bad boy back. You might get the Stockton bad boy back.
And speaking,
you would think that you would know that though, right? Since you've got this great relationship with Nate Diaz.
I do. But listen, the reason I have a great relationship with Nathan Diaz is because I don't always.
Nathan Diaz.
Oh yeah, it's Nathan. He told me on camera. He said, that's my name. He said, that's my name, Nathan. I said, clear it up once and for all. Is it Nate or Nathan? He said, Nathan, that's my name. But there I am, DC. Oh, and to answer your question, the reason I have a great relationship with him is because I don't spill the beans when he tells me something. When it's in the vault, it's in the vault. So Nathan is revved and ready to go. Make no mistake about it. The question is, does he go after a 170 guy, 155 guy? We'll find out. But there I am on social media. And all of a sudden, after you and I together offer a very good and I thought fair and concise breakdown of the aftermath of the Aljamain Sterling Purion fight, there I see you and Aljo hobnobbing it up, leaving me to the side. Oh, you look so sharp on TV. Hey, my brother, what is this all about?
So first off, I absolutely hated my jacket last weekend. I hated my jacket.
Oh, wait. So was he making fun of you?
Yes, I think he was making fun of me. So you kill him with kindness, right? So he thinks, oh, DC looking great. I look like Jerome Bettis. My shoulders look so big. It looks like I had shoulder pads. I hated the jacket. It's my fat jacket. I have today started to diet because I think I look ridiculous. I think he was trying to take a shot at me. So then I just said, "Hey, you kill him with kindness. I love you, champion." And it didn't get a response. So I don't understand. So maybe he was telling me. I don't know. I just said, "Hey, listen, I love you. So as you come at me, I just kill you with kindness. That's all I do."
Oh, it's very nice.
I'm not trying to leave you out because it's you and me, baby. Hey, It's us, dog. It's us, dog. They can't come between us. It's me and you. It's me and you. But I think he was trying to say, "Oh, DC, that's a nice jacket," because I'm aware of it. I hated the jacket. I hated it, but it is what it is.
It had that
The guy all week though. Aljo all week was just trying to defend himself, trying to fight. It's like I know you cannot win in those situations. You got to just kind of let it be.
Very quickly on the jacket, had that gray 1997 look to it. I mean,
it was bad. It was bad.
And then I see the tweet, and I'm like, wait a second, what's going on here with Aljo? Aljo giving him a shout out. And can I just say this about the whole Aljo situation? We don't have to get into it all over again, but I thought it was super interesting. Of course, here's Daniel Cormier, Demetrius Johnson. Here's some of the legends of the game. And John McCarthy, who freaking wrote the rules, right? And he attacks me and says, I'm not an athlete. I have no right to say X, Y, and Z.
Well,
let me finish. Did I say anything about the fight? Did I say anything about the decision? Did I say anything about being a champion? Did I say anything about DQ and how he acted? I spoke about the aftermath, the face-off with Cejudo, which he said I was trolling the Russian fans. Okay, yeah, we're all supposed to know that, and that seems like a bit of a cop-out. Or the stuff afterwards with the pictures and whatnot. That's talking about another human being's behavior. I'm a human being. I can comment on human beings' behaviors outside of the cage. So this whole you're not an athlete, what a low-hanging fruit shot to take. And by the way, DC, tell him about my athletic powers.
Let's not pretend you weren't the captain of the basketball team at the Maccabi games. We're talking about the captain of the Canadian basketball team.
The Jewish Olympics.
The Maccabi games.
Yes.
Ariel Helwani was the team captain of the bronze medal winning Canadian team.
Losing. We lost in the bronze.
Oh, wait, losing. But let's not act like you're no athlete. And you're also the guy that the greatest adult rec league in the world, New York City.
You said it.
Game-winning three-pointer to give your team, what was the team name?
The Montreal Expos.
The championship. So let's not go act like this dude's not an athlete. So y'all better put some respect on my boy's name.
I appreciate
respect on my boy's name.
Yeah, Aljo. Respect my name. I mean, you're going around speaking my name a lot and not knowing about my athletic prowess. In fact, I'm a pretty damn good athlete, as you just laid out.
About. Have y'all not seen his legs? His legs are big. Have you not seen this boy? This dude jumps through the roof, man. Let's go, baller. 200
pounds. People don't know.
Hey, people look at your little slumping shoulders and they see you as an easy target, but they don't understand the power in that base. You got that strong bottom half, 200 pounds. You're a big man.
Neither here nor there. He could say whatever he wants. I was commenting on the aftermath, and I think the record will show that the fans are sort of in agreement that the interviews, the discussion, the back and forth, it's a lot of mixed messages. Oh, I'll fight Cejudo. I'll fight this guy. I would. Sometimes less is more, as you put. Take a break. You don't have to defend yourself 24/7. By the way, it was a drama-filled week. Can we just quickly talk about Juliana Pena dropping one of the all-time pipe bombs? I mean, I thought that CM Punk back in the day in Las Vegas dropped one of the all-time pipe bombs. Juliana Pena, I do an interview with her, DC, and she starts like going off before we even start recording. I was like, whoa. We need to I think she thought we were live on the Zoom thing, how we do the interviews now. And she just brought it on Amanda Nunes. And I have to say, I'm in. I loved everything about it. I'm 100% sold.
I believe that as I look and watch Juliana Pena, right? Because when you hear someone come at the champ in that regard, you go back and you watch a little bit. Like, what in Juliana Pena's style, what intrigued me about the fight? Because the words are one thing, but you got to have the ability to follow it. So I watched I watched a fight with Sarah McManigan recently, and I'm in. Because her grittiness, her toughness, her physical prowess are three things that make me believe she has a chance. And then she made that great point about the Cat Zingano fight. Long time ago, decade. It was a lifetime ago in terms of a career, in terms of who Amanda is today. But honestly, we really haven't had to see Amanda deal with that since she went on this run. Because she dominated Miesha Tate. She dominated Ronda Rousey. She dominated Holly Holm. Megan Anderson. I don't know I can't remember the girl's name from Canada.
Felicia Spencer,
yep. Right? She never was challenged in those fights. And when she was challenged in the fight with Valentina Shevchenko, it was all boxing and kickboxing, right? It wasn't much grappling. Jermaine Durand, I mean, she controlled all the grappling circumstances. What happens if she fights someone that's willing to go through the fire in order to take her down and grind on her as Zingano did? Because that fight back in the day, Zingano got battered in the first round. But in the second round, she was still there. And that's something that Amanda hasn't had to really see since all the way back there, because she's controlled all of the exchanges, which is a credit to Amanda Nunes.
And in addition to that, let's just be honest, 135, 145, there's no one out there for her right now, for Amanda Nunes.
Juliana's going to talk.
She's going to poke the bear. She's going to make it interesting. She's going to sell the fight. This is what we want. You know, it's been a little hunky-dory these days with Amanda Nunes fights. Like, I don't want to see Kumbaya all the time. I want someone, and I got to say, her trash talking skills were phenomenal. Like, she had some really great lines about, you know, her not being in shape and gassing out and all this stuff. Yeah. Is it a little crazy?
She said, come down to 135 or she can stay fat up at 145 and beat on these girls. Like, what is Juliana Pena's like, yo, let's go. She
told Amanda to keep her partner Nina Ansaroff on a leash. Like, she was getting real spicy there. And I was like, yo,
she's like towing the line, right? Like towing the line, like,
because she got involved in some Twitter back and forth with Amanda and Juliana. All I'm saying is, yes, I know she's 2-2 in her last 4 fights, but she's coming off a great win. She was away for a long time because she gave birth. Let's not forget. She's a former Ultimate Fighter winner. There's no one else out there right now. The idea of them fighting potentially on that May 15th card, Mother's Day weekend, kind of cool. Two moms.
Oh my goodness, that would be great.
Right?
That would be great. That's the fight. That's the fight.
Shout out
I'm gonna go lay on my couch. And if there's a tweet out later in the afternoon, just know that there's a strong chance that it's happening.
The Venezuelan Vixen. Tremendous
That was
promo. If you
great.
haven't seen it,
That
go
was
check
great.
it out. Now, we do have to give a bit of time to Mr. Derek Brunson and Mr. Kevin Holland fighting this
Yes.
weekend. Are you doing this one?
No, I'm home. It's my birthday Saturday.
Oh, that's right. Any big
Yeah,
plans?
it's my birthday. That's crazy. It's crazy.
What's so crazy? I mean, it happens once a year.
I'm 42 years old already. That's crazy. I'm just like flying. Like, what happened? I remember when I was younger.
I know. Any big plans?
No plans. My daughter has, for the first time in a year, my daughter's gymnastics team is allowing parents to go in and watch them do some of their stuff they've been working on during the pandemic. So
Oh, wow.
I'm excited about that.
I know there's nothing you'd rather do than that. So that's big. This card, by the way, sneaky good.
It
your
is.
Your boy Tai Tuivasa returning. Gregor Gillespie in his first fight since that Kevin Lee loss against Brad Riddell. But I love this main event. And by the way, DC, what I like about it is, much like what we saw just a few weeks ago in the heavyweight division, this feels like the beginning of a middleweight tournament. You got this fight. You've got Darren Till and Marvin Vettori, which we found out last week will be on ABC. So that's exciting on April 10th. And then April 17th, you've got the return of Robert Whittaker against Paulo Costa. I don't feel like anyone right now has a leg up, but I feel like the guy who looks the best out of these 3 fights, these 6 fighters, will get the next shot at Izzy. Could it be Holland, went 5-0 in 2020? This is a big time fight.
This is a big fight for Kevin Holland. And bro, I try not to say this about fighters, right? But certain guys, if you get past them, you seem to be on the path to a title. That's Derek Brunson, Robert Whittaker.
RDA, you just mentioned it about.
Was that?
You just said the same thing about RDA.
Yeah, right? Robert Whittaker, Israel Adesanya, they beat Derek Brunson. They become title challengers and become champions. If this is the fight for Kevin Holland to do that, but we saw the Shabazian fight, Derek Brunson is still as good as they come at middleweight. But I do believe that against Kevin Holland, he has to really rein himself in. If he goes crazy and he's wild, Holland's going to catch him with something that's going to make him look bad. We've seen Derek get hit with punches at times because he overextends himself, right? Even in that Adesanya fight, he was reaching, he was trying to shoot from far out. He was kind of tripping over himself. He did it with Shabazian a little bit, but he was able to get takedowns and control him to the point that he exhausts him. Derek needs to take all these skills that he's developed at Sanford MMA and stay within that bubble, that game plan that they're going to develop for him if he wants to beat Kevin Holland, who is an absolute sniper, right? He's an absolute sniper. And what's crazy about Kevin Holland is that he's really known for his grappling. He's a guy that trains down in Texas with Travis Lutter, right? It's Travis Lutter, who's a phenomenal grappler in his own right and has all these submission skills. But he's a sniper. You saw what he did to Joaquin Buckley. I mean, he goes, wipe your boogers, and then hits him with a pop, pop, drops him and puts him to sleep. He's in the guard of Jacare and knocks him out in that way. So it's a fantastic matchup, and it has so much at stake when these two come together this weekend. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, because I know Brunson lost to Izzy back in the day, but if Holland wins, he can really set the tone and be like, all right, Till, Vettori, all right, Whittaker, Costa, you try to up this. Like if he does something spectacular. Remember, Holland and Izzy have a history. Remember when Holland won?
And everybody thought it was a joke, right? Laughing at him like, oh, this kid is calling out the champ. Now the kid's won 5 in a row. He won this weekend. Now he's on a 6-fight win streak and viable. And a lot of people thought he was the fight of the year last year. A lot of people. Why wouldn't he be on the short list for championship fight? Especially if Adesanya goes, well, me and Rob just fought barely. It wasn't that long ago. So why do I need to fight Whittaker again? It's crazy.
Yeah. I love that fight. I love the Gillespie Riddell fight. Always good to see Tai Tuivasa back. So that's this Saturday on ESPN. 2 prelims at 7 p.m. Eastern and ESPN Plus, and then main card on ESPN, on Big ESPN and ESPN Plus, beginning at 10 p.m. Eastern. A couple more things I do want to talk to you about. What's our official stance? We haven't really gotten into it just yet. And we will, I think, the week of the fight. What's our official stance on Askren Paul? Are we supposed to root for Askren here? Like, is he representing us? Because all right, so Askren had Freddie Roach at wild card last week. Is this enough to get the job done? What do we think? Can he get it done?
Listen, we are rooting for Ben Askren. I'm rooting for Ben Askren more than just the fact that we're Olympic teammates and he's my friend. I'm rooting for Ben Askren because Ben Askren's going out there and representing mixed martial arts against an internet celebrity. Like, Ben Askren has to get this done. And I'm not the only one. Dana White was going to bet Zab Judah $1 million on Ben Askren.
Imagine that,
Yo,
right?
Dana, Dana, this is crazy. Don't go crazy betting $1 million in a boxing match with Ben. But Ben seems to be getting ready. Ben seems to be training. I had some
your
little
boogers.
Little boogers coming down. I just feel like Kevin Holland said, "Wipe your boogers," so I had to wipe mine. Dana's got to be careful betting money on Ben in the boxing match because the kid trains. Jake Paul trains. Jake Paul seemed to know what he was doing. Granted, it was against Nate Robinson, but let's go, Ben. Ben, you got to get this done. Ben, you got to get this done. I mean, ultimately, it boils down to this: Ben Askren, you got to get it done. You have to get this done.
I love the buildup. I think the videos are fun. I love the symbolism of Dana, who, let's be honest, not a big fan of Ben Askren. Askren, not a big fan of Dana, saying, yo, I'm betting on the MMA guy $1 million. I mean, that's not chump change. I know Dana's worth a lot of money, but still it's $1 million. Askren with Freddie Roach is kind of hilarious, but I love it. I mean, he's taking it seriously. I can't wait. I'm all in. I know
Ben's
MMA fans get all
too. Ben's a prideful guy. He ain't going in there to lay down for this dude. Ben's gonna try to beat that dude.
It's amazing to me how people speak about Ben Askren and talk about him like some scrub because he lost to Jorge Masvidal in 5 seconds. Like this guy, one of the toughest. He's Bob Backlund, circa 1983. Like he is one of the toughest human beings. Doesn't look it, right? Has the dad bod, whatever. This man is squeezing watermelons in his backyard.
He's so strong, bro. He's so strong. Like people don't realize, like until Ben grabs you, how strong he is. And look, yeah, he lost to Masvidal in 5 seconds. But go back. Universally, people thought that was Ben Askren's fight to lose, right? And so he got caught with a knee in 5 seconds. They fight 10 times. Does that knee land every single match? That fight could have went a lot different.
Wait, so are you saying right now Ben Askren's winning this fight? Is this official?
Ben needs to win this fight. Like
no. Michael Chandler said Ben Askren's winning.
I see Ben Askren afterwards. He loses to Jake Paul. I'm slapping him. Is he fighting Jake Paul?
Yes.
Or Logan Paul?
No, Jake.
Ben Askren, you lose to Jake Paul, I'm slapping you. You better beat this dude. Don't lose to Jake Paul. Go beat this dude, man. Come on, Ben, man. You got this MMA, this USA wrestling. This is everybody. We're all watching. Everybody's watching, Ben. Everybody's watching, man. And I'm telling you, I've spoken to a lot of people. A number of people want to slap you if you don't get this done. So you better get this fight won, man. I'm telling you.
No pressure whatsoever. Hey, much love to my guy, number 33, the captain.
Big Pat.
Big Pat did it. He made it happen. Hey, no one wanted to give him a chance in the NBA. 49 years to the day that his mentor, John Thompson, was hired by the Georgetown Hoyas. There he is Saturday night at the Mecca at Madison Square Garden, hoisting the trophy. A sign of things to come, of course, for the orange and blue later on this spring. But so nice to see my guy, Big Pat, number 33, Patrick Ewing, a man hoisting that Big East trophy. I love that man.
It was awesome, man. It was awesome to see Patrick Ewing win the Big East. It was cool to see him climb the ladder to cut the rope, the net, because he really only had to go up one step. He's like one step. He's 7 foot tall, right? He's on the very bottom step as he cuts the net for the Big East championship. But it's great for me to see these former players in these roles and having success. Watching Juwan Howard out of Michigan, Patrick Ewing in the Big East, all these athletes that were children, or when I was going through college, and Pat being a pro, but Juwan Howard being in college right after I was, or right before I was. It's great to see these guys being successful and doing what they love to do. But man, it was just so like symbolic for Patrick Ewing to win the Big East in Madison Square Garden right after, John Thompson hasn't been gone for very long. So it was beautiful to see. I like Patrick Ewing. I didn't like the Knicks, but I like Patrick Ewing because I feel like this man deserves all the credit that he's going to get as he continues to bring back a winning tradition at Georgetown. Remember, I told you a long time ago, Georgetown felt like an HBCU, right? Because of Allen Iverson, Patrick Ewing, John Thompson, all the guys that came through.
Lonzo Mourning.
Yeah, all those guys. It felt like for a young black kid that you were supposed to support Georgetown, and it's good to see them having success again.
It legit made me emotional considering all the times he didn't win in the NBA and at Madison Square Garden in the big moments and stages. Yeah, it was great. I was so happy to see him get that recognition, especially because he wanted to be an NBA coach and no one gave him that chance. So good on Patrick, and I wish him the best of luck in the NCAA tournament. And hey, maybe one day we'll see a similar situation where a man named Drew Brees is leading the New Orleans Saints
Brees,
as head coach.
Hey, the
of
boy
the-
Drew.
Hey,
Can I give a shout out?
well, this is me laying it up for you. Yes.
Okay, can I give a shout out? I want to give a shout out to the greatest quarterback
Oh, stop
in
it.
NFL. Listen, to the greatest quarterback in NFL history. Number 9. Number 9, thank you for what you did for the city of New Orleans, for what you did to an organization that did not have a long history of winning. You made us a perennial winner in the NFC. Drew Brees, congrats on a great career. And hey, listen, Ariel.
All is
You
forgiven.
can retire. You can retire and go off into the sunset, not to be seen again. Drew Brees, enjoy your $20 million a year calling football games after this, man. So congrats on a great career. And I know that he's going to bring a vast knowledge to the commentary booth as an analyst.
Let's go. The Jameis era has begun.
Don't put Jameis like Jameis. Man, come on. They just restructured Taysom Hill's deal, save some money on the salary cap. Let's see what type of moves they're going to make. Because right now, it seems like we're going into the season with Jameis and Taysom. And honestly, we're still a 10 to 12 win team next year. So, and we have, I think now you have the deep threat again because those guys have big arms. Drew's arm was starting to kind of wear down on it.
Most importantly, though, special shout out. I failed to do it last week, and I was really upset that I didn't do it. Want to give a shout out to Charles Mask Lewis, who 12 years ago last week passed away tragically. I fear that people like Charles Lewis are going to be forgotten, and their contributions to the sport are being forgotten about as the time goes on. I have said it. I don't think MMA as a whole does a great job of honoring its past. I would love to see an MMA Hall of Fame for the entire sport. Charles Mask Lewis, pioneer, trailblazer, helped a lot of fighters before there was any money in this game, died tragically 12 years ago last week. Of course, one of the founders of Tap Out back in the day. So I just wanted to say that we remember Charles Lewis and we will never forget him as well.
And think about the fact that Tap Out was such a major brand, right? And Charles was noticeable. Him and what was it,
Skyscraping
and yeah, like they were just so noticeable. And they were two of the people that you understood that if you got to know those guys, they were nice and willing to help. And again, I think the World MMA Awards does a great job. They named their fighter of the year after Charles. But like you said, man, we need to honor the memory of a guy that truly was a trailblazer in our sport.
Did you ever meet him, or was he before your time?
Right before I started.
Yeah.
Right before I started. When I first got to fighting, I wasn't really going anywhere. I was just in the gym training. As I got longer in my career, I started to travel, but I was just off in the gym, tucked off whenever he passed away.
Yeah. A horrible day, March 11th, 2009. So I wanted to give him a special shout out as well. All right, DC, we're out of time, my friend. A great show. Go take your nap. I'll take my schluff, and we'll reconvene in around 7 days or so. Everything okay?
No, that's fine.
Okay. Wait, okay, I said no. That means things aren't.
No, everything's fine.
Okay.
What are you talking about?
All right. Hey, we're going to celebrate next week, 1 year anniversary. For now, though, we're out of time. Enjoy Brunson, Holland. Enjoy your birthday, my friend. That's awesome. Happy 42nd early. Happy birthday to you. And thanks, as always, to our entire team and to all of you, our listeners, our viewers. We appreciate you more than you know. Continue to rate, download, subscribe, and review. And we even appreciate you rascals on YouTube as well, even though you're always back next week, same time and place. Until then, we say peace. We're out of here.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.